What's up, y'all? This philosophical from the rap review room. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I first want to say like, share, and subscribe to the page. Also, if you're an up and coming rapper, artist, hip hop artist, R&B artist, and you want your music reviewed here on the rap review room, make sure you send me a follow on Instagram, send me a message on Instagram, or even send me an email with your track, and let's kind of discuss and get your music reviewed here. So today, I'm reviewing the LL album, Force album, Frequency of Real Creative Energy. I first want to say about this album, right? I was real excited to hear this album, right? Because I had saw LL on the Club Shay Shay podcast. He had been talking about this. He had been really talking about this album, and when I heard about this album, I was very surprised. And then I saw and heard the single with him, Fat Joe, and also Rick Ross, which I also liked. We put out another single with Saweetie Proclivities, which I did not like. And also, there were some rumors of some leaked tracks with Eminem, which I have my thoughts on. I'm going to speak on in a little bit here. So let's speak on this. Let's speak on the review of LL's album for Frequencies of Real Creative Energy. All right, so let's first speak on this, right? Um, I th- I thoroughly listened to this album a couple times, and I'll first say some positives about this album. Um, I looked and I saw that Q-Tip produced this album, which really made me excited. Um, I will say that this album sounds a lot like Tribe Called Quest's album a couple years ago. We got it from here. Thank you for your service. It sounded a lot like this album. The problem I have is that there are some issues with this LL album, right? And let's talk about some of the issues, but I'm gonna speak on a little bit of the positives. As I said, it sounds a lot like the Tribe Called Quest's album back in 2016, as I stated, right? Um, Sonically, as far as going through the album, it sounds good. There are some mixing issues with this album. That was something that I felt like it wasn't mixed and mastered very well. Some of the beats and tones were a little bit low and high. Um, I don't know if that was the beat structure. I don't know if that was the beat itself. I don't know if it was the way kind of it was. He did this as far as the frequency he wanted for this album, and that's where I kind of understand. That's where I kind of get. Was this done purposely? As far as of course, no pun intended, calling the album frequencies of real creative energy. Did he want this type of sound, this kind of sonic experimental sound? If that's the case, I understand. But as far as the listening sound of it from the ear, it sounds very like echoed. It doesn't sound very sounds very monotone, very low. And if he was going for that, cool, success, right? Success. So that was kind of the issues I had a little bit with this album. There are some tracks on here that aren't do not sound very well here. Secondly, seems like there are some discrepancies of bars on this album from LL, right? Um, there are some tracks on here I'm like, man, LL did his thing. I like what I'm hearing. I like what he's saying. And there are some other tracks I'm just like, bro, it just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work for me. And I'm gonna do an in-depth track review here of some tracks that I like, some tracks that I didn't like. Um, but there are some standout tracks on here, right? And there are some tracks on here that I like a lot more from the features than I did LL. A lot of LL's bars and what he was saying, I'm just like, it just didn't work for me. It just didn't work for me. And there's some other tracks where I was like, man, okay, LL, I wish I would have got a little bit more of that. So let's kind of go down the list. All right, Spirit of Cyrus, right? This is featuring Snoop Dogg. I felt like it's a good beginning track of what um, we're getting here. I like LL sounded good on this, right? He sounded cool as a good beginning track. Snoop, of course, is Snoop on this track. Um, I like the track. I like the beginning. This was a very good first listenable track. The Force, I felt like it was a little bit um, one of those tracks that wasn't very mixed well, but I like the way I'll say all these tracks LL sounded good, but the problem I had was that I kind of tuned him out. He wasn't really saying anything to make me feel like, man, this is spectacular or it's great. There are some tracks where he's doing his thing on here, right? Saturday Night Special was the track with LL Cool J, Rick Ross, and Fat Joe. I feel like that was a great track. Very, very good track. Very, very cool track. Everybody did their thing on that. This was a very good single that he came out with, right? Black Cold Sweet. Um, Again, this is one of those tracks. I like the track. I like the feature artist a little bit more on this track. I'm just looking here to see the Sona. I hope I'm saying this right. Sona Jabarte. I love the beat switch when she comes on, right? And I feel like that beat switch was something that maybe LL should have rapped on rather than the beginning track of this. Again, I liked it. It was cool. It's just nothing was really resonating or relating to me on this track, right? Um, Passion was a really good track. I love that single when it came out. Passion was a very this was the track I kind of wish he kind of went into more. I wanted more of this, right? Passion was a great, amazing track, and I I love the video for it. Also, I felt like I just wanted more of that from him, and it displayed his coolness, his swag. He never left. He's kind of the legend, the pioneer of hip hop, and it kind of displayed, no pun intended, the passion he still has for music. And I like this track. I thought it was a great first track. Um, he was saying things. He was displaying his humbleness. His kind of like his passion. Hey, I'm here. Don't forget it, type of thing, right? And I like that. I like that from him on this, right? Proclivities. I tell you right now, I didn't like this track. I did not like this track at all. I felt like he had the opportunity. If you were gonna do a track like this, I understand the putting it this track on the album. I just wish either you had a different artist on there. I don't understand why Saweetie was on this. I feel like for the tone and what you had on this, on where you were going with this album, I feel like you could have put somebody else on here that could have done a better job. Sonically, it didn't sound well. LL Cool J's verse, I just felt wasn't very compelling enough for me on this track. I get it. This is just a normal LL Cool J track of speaking sensually and just speaking on a level of like women and different things, body parts. I just didn't like it. I didn't like this type of track, right? There's nothing wrong with the track. I understand why he put it on here. It just wasn't a good track. Um, Postmodern. This is where the album where I feel like some people have told me and also spoken to me about this is where some of the um, mixing and mastering had an issue. And I agree. I like Postmodern. Some people did not. I like Postmodern. I feel like this is the start of tracks that I wanted more from LL. To be honest, Proclivities he could have left off. Um, Maybe possibly a different intro track. The Force was cool. I understand it. That could stay. But I feel like Postmodern is where a lot of the album starts for me, right? Also, if even we can even say start off at Passion. This is where the album starts and take off Proclivities. Postmodern was a great track, man. 30 December. This is the best. This is one of the best tracks on the album. It was captivating. LL's bars. Again, he was talking like, hey, I've been doing this for 30 plus summers. He was telling a story. It was conceptual. 30 December is a good track. Run it back is a great track. And I love that track. Love it. I'm loving this track. So those are three good tracks right there. Postmodern, 30 December's, Run It Back. Huey in the Chair. Other than the other artists I'm getting ready to say had better features, Busta Rhymes killed this. and this is, I'll even say one of these, even LL's verse on here was cool. It was cool. I feel like this whole album, LL was just cool. If you get what I mean, right? No pun intended. LL Cool J, he was just cool to me, right? But I feel like Huey in the Chair, Busta Rhymes had the execution, the aggression. He comes in, he's just killing it, right? And I loved Huey in the Chair. So Basquiat Energy was, I feel like it was another track that was cool. I understand why he put it on there. It was, I liked it. I wouldn't take it off if it came down to it. I wouldn't have an opinion if he did take it off or kept it. But Basquiat Energy was just okay. It was cool. Um, praise him, praise him. I feel like this was Nas's typical storytelling, and I feel like LL couldn't keep up. I feel like LL couldn't keep up. I think LL was just cool, ranting on a lot of these tracks. Just kind of a little bit of everywhere on these tracks, and I don't think he can keep up with Nas's flow and storytelling. I don't think the beat did it justice either. Um, the mixing and the sound of this beat wasn't done very well. Nas did his thing, of course, but Nas is Nas, and I don't think the beat did justice for Nas, and I don't think the beat did justice for LL. Um, I'm sorry to say this right now, but Murdergram Dex is not a great track. I'm sorry, and this has been the kind of my issue with Eminem. LL does not sound good on this. This beat does not sound good, and Eminem does not. This is probably one of the worst verses all year I've heard from Eminem, if not. And I've heard some bad verses from Eminem before, but I feel like this is not a great track. I didn't like this track. I know this track was kind of leaked, the different versions of the track, but in case of this particular track on the album, I didn't like it. Right? I just felt like, again, this is one of those things where the beat wasn't very good. I feel like LL tried to keep up with Eminem on like the corny cringe stuff. It just didn't work. And Eminem once again doing the corny cringe stuff. I kind of wish he would have took a different direction as far as being on the track with the legend, and he kind of took the funny cringe route. And that's some of the problems I have with Eminem a little bit. Sorry, I didn't like this track at all. That track can probably be taken off or even reworked. I understand why he put Eminem on there, but again, I just didn't like that track. And the last track, The Vow. The Vow is the best track on this album by far. By far. Eminem, I'm sorry. LL sounds great on this track. He's got, I think I've heard of Mad Squabbles, Jay Sand, and I've never heard of Jay Sand, and Don Plub. I hope I'm saying this right. Pablito. Man, I tell you what, this is the best track on the album. LL was snapping. LL was just coming with the bars, aggression. The other three are, I tell you what, Mad Squabbles, Jay Sand, and Don Pablito came through. If they came out with a group project, that project would probably be a lyrical beast. And this is the best. And I had to go through 13 other tracks just to get to this track. It is a great track. So I will say, out of 14 tracks on this album, right? If we were to say Spirit of Cyrus, we can keep that going. The Force, just okay. Saturday Night Special, great track. Black Cold Sweet, we just keep, like I said, we just keep Sona's verse on there. Maybe LL raps on that beat. Passion, great track. Proclivities can go. Postmodern, okay, good track. 30 December's one of LL's best bars track. Running Back was good. He in a chair. LL did not match up to Busta's aggression. Maybe if LL changed his verse, keep Busta on there, maybe we can keep that on there. Basquiat Energy, I probably can do without. I understand why he put it on there. Praise Him is probably another track. Nas did his thing, maybe change the beat around, change LL's verse a little bit. Murdergram Dex, I can do without. Eminem, LL just didn't do it for me, and The Vow stays. So I would say a proper review for this album, I have to give it probably a 6.5 rating, right? Sonically, conceptually, if this album was mixed and mastered in a way that, of course, no pun intended, forces frequencies of creative, real creative energy. I get it. Some of these beats don't sound well. LL's bars are a little bit questionable for me. I wish I got a little bit more of the aggressive, hey, I'm a legend, hey, conceptual type of tracks. A lot of the tracks, the bars sound a little bit outdated. The bars sound a little bit, come on, L. So as far as I enjoy listening to the album. LL sounds good on these tracks. Some of the beats, like I said, aren't mixed and mastered very well. Some of the tracks with some of these features don't do it justice. The best track on this album is The Vow. Best features on here are on The Vow and also with track with Busta Rhymes. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know, 6.5 rating. Let me know if you guys in the comments what you guys thought about this album. Have you heard the album? I give this album 6.5. So if you are an up and coming artist and you want your music reviewed here, definitely follow me on Instagram. Right down in the description box will be down in the description box. Follow me on TikTok. Definitely like, share, and subscribe to the page. And let me know what you guys think about this LL album. I thought it was cool, no pun intended. 6.5. It's not a horrible album. I do think it has some sonic issues, some beat issues, some mixing issues, some issues with a lot of some of the features on here, and that was kind of my recommendations of what I would do as far as making this album a little bit better. If I was in the studio with LL, that's some of the opinions. Let me know what you guys think about that. I'm philosophical from the Rap Review Room, y'all. I'm out, y'all.